This is the third part of the Crete Fashion Guide. In it, we will look at even more new mechanisms, but we will focus on working with liquids. And before that, I want to pay respect to my favorite subscribers. Thank you for being there. I watch and read everything you write. And we are starting. To begin with, I would like to tell you about the sequential assembly and manufacture of the precision mechanism that is needed for advanced machines. But before that, let's consider an autonomous activator. It is powered from two sides and is needed in order to simulate the actions of the player. You can give him some objects and he will use them, imitating the left or right mouse button click. This works not only with any objects, but also blocks. With the right mouse button and a wrench, you can rotate the autonomous activator if you click on its face, but if you click on the front face, then you will change its mode of operation. The first finger and the second fist. The finger is used to place objects, blocks and activate some mechanisms. In fact, it simulates the right mouse button of the player, and the fist, in turn, simulates a left mouse button strike on blocks, players or mobs. Also, the autonomous activator is able to bury in itself the items that it has extracted, and until you unload it, it will not continue its work. In this example, I'm pumping out resources using a funnel. In addition to the cobblestone, we also got the tool itself, which is bad. To avoid such a situation, a filter is provided on the activator itself. Here you can specify the item that he will use and it will not be taken from the hand of your activator. That will allow you to extract only the extracted resources, and not the tool. By the way, the tool, objects, and blocks can be loaded into the activator using funnels, which will allow it to be automated. And a recipe for an autonomous activator. You will need an electronic lamp, an andesite case and a brass arm. And the brass arm is made of an andesite alloy and 4 brass sheets. Now we have enough knowledge to make a precision mechanism. The precision mechanism is made of gold leaf by sequential assembly. That is, first the gold leaf should fit on the first depot and a gear should be installed on it with an activator, then a large gear and a piece of iron. And so you need to do about 5 times. It's easier to show. We have an autonomous activator and depot. We put a gold leaf on the depot. With the right mouse click, we give the activator a gear in our hand and now we just need to power up the activator so that we can craft. As a result, we get an incomplete precision mechanism, where we are shown that the following needs to be added to it. A big gear. We take out a small gear from the activator and put a large one in its place and actually repeat this process. Now we need a piece of iron, respectively. We take out a large gear and put pieces of iron in our hand. And so you need to do it 5 times, repeating the same thing. Therefore, I present to you the following mechanism. The essence of the mechanism is very simple. There are 3 activators, each of which has an ingredient. This is a stack of small gears, in the second hand a stack of large ones and in the third hand 100 pieces of iron. If we throw away our gold leaf, it will travel until it gathers into a precision mechanism. And with the help of a catapult, he will return to the beginning of the conveyor, repeating the operation again and again. There is a probability of getting a failure, it is small, 20%. And at one stage we will get a ready-made precision mechanism that can be picked up. And now we'll talk about the rotation speed controller. To understand what this mechanism does, let's take a large gear and install it over it. Their textures will connect. And let's power up our mechanism. It has 2 sides, the first and the second. I choose this one. As a source, we will have a water wheel. And we started spinning. With this mechanism, you can adjust the rotation speed of a large gear using this special field, just by turning the wheel, pointing at it. By setting a positive number of negative places, you will change the direction of rotation of the big gear. The opposite. In fact, this is the only way to accurately adjust the rotation speed of your mechanism. Because the creative engine is still creative. And now we'll talk about mechanical hands. They are needed in order to transport items from point A to point B. It can be a depot, conveyor belt or other mechanism that will automate a lot of things. Rotation can only be brought to the mechanical arm by gears. And yet, the mechanical arm has a distance of 4 blocks in any direction. And now I'm going to teach you how to set goals for a mechanical arm. Take a mechanical hand in your hand and right-click on some block. It will be highlighted in blue, which means that items will be taken from this block, and if you click on the selected block a second time, it will be highlighted in orange, and this means that items will be placed there. After that, install a mechanical arm and it will take items and store them. The mechanical arm has an unlimited number of targets, from where it can take objects and where to put them. Sometimes there are situations and we have several exits and the hand puts objects randomly. If you are not satisfied with this, then take a wrench and point at the lower part of the mechanical arm, and you will see the modes. You can change them by rotating the mouse wheel. In the inventory, hovering over the mechanical hand, in the menu of hints you will find the following scene, where each mode of operation of this hand is described in detail. And to create a mechanical arm, you will need 3 brass sheets, an andesite alloy, a precision mechanism and a brass body. And now it's time to talk about working with liquids, how to store, transfer and use them. And we'll start with liquid pipes. They are easily connected to each other, forming multistructures. Right-click with a wrench will make your pipe transparent and you will be able to see what kind of liquid is in it. In the same way it is removed. And yet, especially for pipes from the Cret mod, there is a copper case in which they can be dressed, which will allow you to separate them into different groups. And recipes. Liquid pipes can be made from 2 copper sheets and 1 copper ingot, you will get 4 pieces. And copper cases can be made by clicking an ingot on the hewn wood, or do it with the help of an autonomous activator. And the liquid itself can be stored in liquid tanks. One such block is capable of storing 8 buckets, they can also be connected to each other, forming multistructures and they will have a common capacity. Also, if you have enough blocks, you can quickly build up a multistructure by clicking on the top face. Liquids can be poured directly into the bucket only in the creative. In normal survival, this will not work, but with the help of pipes, it is possible and pipes are connected from either side. But not everything is so simple, lava does not go from one liquid tank to another, because we need the next block. Mechanical pump. This is how it looks and it works with the help of rotational energy, which is supplied with the help of gears. Please note that there is an arrow on the pump, it shows where the liquid is being pumped out. Right-clicking with a wrench in hand will allow you to change its direction. And now the lava will flow into the second liquid tank. You can also change the direction of the arrow without using a wrench, simply changing the rotation speed to the opposite. And yes, the pump can be installed on any part of the path between the 2 tanks, the main thing is to turn the arrow correctly. And crafts, a liquid tank is made of 2 copper sheets and a barrel, and a mechanical pump is made of a liquid pipe and a small gear. Let's talk about liquid filtration. When there are many of them, the pipes are able to intersect, but if there are different liquids in them, then an explosion will occur at the intersection and the pipe will break. Therefore, separate the pipes, making some of them transparent, but you will need more mechanical pumps, which also need to be powered and adjusted. In addition to transparent pipes, you can also use smart pipes that will allow you to configure which liquid they will pass through using a liquid filter. Take any object that contains liquid and click it on the smart pipe into the filter slot and now only this liquid will be poured there. A right mouse click with an empty hand will clear the filter and any liquid will pass through the pipe. There is also a liquid valve to control the fluid in the pipes. It has 2 inputs for connecting rotation. And it is needed in order to prevent the liquid from going in a straight direction. Also on the valve there is an arrow like this, if it is pointed at the red squares, then the liquid will not go, but by connecting the rotation, this arrow can be turned. When it points to green, the liquid will calmly pass on through the valve. And now I'll tell you about the copper hand valve. The manual valve is very similar to the handle, it can also be rotated. The right mouse button rotates in one direction, and the shift plus the right one rotates in the other. The valve differs from the handle in that it allows you to adjust the rotation more smoothly. Yes, it certainly moves at a slower speed, but it is better suited for the same valve. And now the recipes. Smart liquid pipe is made of brass sheet, liquid pipe and electronic lamp. The liquid valve is made of a liquid pipe of iron sheet, and a copper manual valve can be made of 3 copper sheets and an andesite alloy. Now I'll tell you about the pulley with the hose. It is needed in order to collect liquid from the world and pour it. The pulley can be connected to the pipes on one side, and the rotation can be brought on the other side. The rotation feed will allow you to pull or twist the hose. The hose should be lowered to one liquid level as much as possible. Next, I connect the pipe to the pulley and make it transparent. The way the pump works with us determines in which mode it will work on the pulley. If the pump sucks us into itself, then accordingly it will pump the liquid out of the world. The pumping speed depends on the speed of the pump. And if you need to pour, then change the arrow on the pump so that it takes the liquid from the tank and feeds it into the pulley. For a pulley with a hose, you will need a copper housing, a block of dried kelp and a copper sheet. Next we will talk about the subject desiccant. It takes liquids from objects that contain it. Take an object with liquid in your hand and right-click on the desiccant and the liquid will fit inside it. The cool thing is that he can make liquid from portions of objects, which can be pumped out of him with a pump and pipes. But it's inconvenient to click, agree. For automation, you will need to supply him with items using mechanisms from the mod. Here is an example of simple automation using two funnels. We put the bucket potion in the first chest, and what happened after draining will be collected by this funnel and placed in the chest. To create an object dryer, you will need a copper case and an iron rod. And the next mechanism is called a dispenser. The dispenser works with liquids and only with the help of pipes can they be placed in it. If there is enough liquid, then it fills the object that is under it. Items under the dispenser can be placed at the depot or go to it along the conveyor. And in the dispenser you can make a cake of spaloka, which is needed for the burner. And the dispenser itself can be made using a copper case and dried kelp. And now we will talk about steam engines and the steam boiler that they need. Steam engines are needed primarily for the production of rotational energy, which is needed to connect other mechanisms. Let's start the construction. To begin with, we need at least 4 heat sources. I will use burners and I will also pump them up to the second level with cakes. Next, I will leave 4 liquid tanks. And now I need an endless source of water, because the boiler will consume a lot of it. Then we take the steam engine and put it on either side of the liquid tank. After installation, our tank will already be considered a steam boiler. Now take the shafts, right-click on the steam engine and it will install. We will have a piston texture and in fact the engine is already ready and you can connect the mechanisms. If you put on engineering glasses and point at your steam boiler, you will see its characteristics, such as size, the amount of water inside and heating, as well as the maximum amount of rotational energy it can produce. The maximum power of a steam engine is 16,384 units. At the moment it is the same as the maximum load of the boiler. The engine is running at maximum. If you put another engine, the power will already be halved and it works at 50% of the maximum possible, the third is 3 times less, respectively. The minimum size of the boiler is 4 liquid tanks, but you can put more. Don't forget about heat sources so that your steam engines work efficiently. For heating, you can use a fire shower, you can use a regular fire or just lava, or put a flare burner without powering it. More efficient heat sources are an activated burner or an overheated burner, which gives maximum speed. By the way, there is a steam whistle in the Crete fashion, which can only be installed on the boiler, and if you give it a rest signal, it will play a note when your boiler is heated. You can add more whistles to change the pitch of the sound. A right click with a wrench will allow you to change octaves. And wearing engineering glasses will show you what note is playing now. And finally crafts. You can make a steam engine using a gold leaf, a cast alloy, a copper block, and a steam whistle is made from a gold leaf and a copper ingot. This is where we say goodbye friends, but that's not all. The mod Worms is huge. Andrika was with you, thanks for watching, bye.